Hello everyone, this is LW Gaming and welcome to a brand new installment of CN Langrisser. This time around it is June 10th edition of 2024 and today's date, as the time of recording, it is June 6th. I decided to record this in advance as usual so that I can get this video out right on time. Anyways, this time around in this upcoming update in CN, there are going to be two new heroes coming to the game. And we'll talk about them relatively shortly, really quick. So anyways, here they are. So these are the two heroes we got that's going to be coming up soon. So anyways, first up we got Xion. I think it's Xion, but anyways, he's going to be the protagonist, Legion of Glory and your Less Legends, and his classes are infantry and cavalry. And his role is a physical DPS, and not just that, he's a new faction buff for protagonists. Which honestly, it is pretty amazing to see someone new from the protagonist, like the faction buffer. Like we haven't had a new faction buff for quite some time now, aside from Isolda. So anyway, actually no, not Isolda. Since Bright Summoner, or actually no, Bright Summoner was actually the update after before this one, actually before this one comes along. So yeah, we got another faction buffer in our hands. So we got the one that's upcoming, which is Bright Summoner. She will be first, and then finally we got this one, being the other one for protagonists. Anyways, his faction buff increases the damage dealt by 15% when entering combat, and then if you're not able to kill an enemy with a skill, that skill cooldown will be reduced by 1 turn, which is great to some units. I mean, most units actually. Because most of the single target skills can actually kill enemies easily, but if you have AoE skills, they're guaranteed to proc because for one, AoEs usually aren't meant to kill. So yeah, you can benefit this for your allies that does like AoE. I know that there are a few that in the protagonist team that does that, but anyways, we'll see how it works out in the game, because as far as I've seen so far, these heroes aren't released yet in CN at least, but so we won't know how they work in the game until we see it ourselves. Okay, next up we got Tiana. Her appearance, I gotta say, is a mix of Lana and Liana in some ways. Of course, the name itself kind of give it away of looks similar to those two characters, but anyways, she could be related to them, but maybe not. But anyways, back on topic. Her factions, she's part of Legion of Glory, Meteor Strike, and US Legends. And her classes will be Lancer and Assassin. And you might be thinking, even though she is an assassin, do you think she's going to be like a DPS kind of thing? Well, sort of, but not really. Her role is actually interesting because she acts as the guardian / tank that protects from all damage types. Kind of like Gintoki in some ways, minus the part where Gintoki only protects you against physical, I think. I might be wrong there, but anyways, it is similar to Gintoki, but this one has like a multi revive apart from Gin. If you don't know what I mean. So when Gin activate that Guardian's Oath ability that he has in his 1C, he gets himself that revive effect. So he does not die when guarding an ally. So yeah, you can tell that this is going to be interesting to see that Tiana will have some kind of mechanic that Gin has first. But this is different because this one can be revived multiple times. So depending on your star level, Tiana will revive the minimum of 4 turns. But if it's like a 6 stars, she can get that revive back after 2 turns. So as long as she survives the fight on the field. So yeah, if she's able to live for so long, she can essentially get that revive back, which is pretty strong, don't you think? So anyways, these two heroes are pretty solid additions. So I'm kind of intrigued how they're gonna work when they come out in global, at least. So I can imagine these two are pretty much like a pretty strong summoning choices here. So anyways, we'll see how it goes from there. So anyways, moving on, let's talk about the new casting pattern skills. There is one I have anticipated for quite some time now, because I wasn't sure when this is the character I did want to have the most. Well, not really the most, but the one that I wanted to see to have casting, and it looks like my answer is finally now. And that is none other than Elwin, my first SSR throughout the entire game that I have so far. So Elwin is finally getting his casting here. And I gotta say, a lot of people said that his casting is okay. Well, for PvE at least, but for PvP, it doesn't sound enough based on what I've heard. So, anyways, his casting is like if there are no allies within 2 blocks of Elwin, which is like he needs to distance himself from allies, kind of sticking to the lore of Langrisser M, of course. When using Eternal Glow skill to attack an enemy, attack plus 30%, as long as he's distancing himself from the allies. And also, and after killing an enemy, this will trigger the fusion power effect from the passive of his 3C. So he's becoming like Grinshield in some ways. And also, if the Eternal Glow passive effect is triggered this way, this will actually affect your Empire's Honor's allies as well. So not just only Legion of Glory getting this buff, Empire's Honor will get it too. Which sounds great, but here's the thing. He needs to stay away from allies in order for this to work. So yeah, you can tell that this might not be ideal. Because in the modern day of Langrisser's Apex Arena, most people had to like have their tank around to keep their units safe, right? Well, Elwin doesn't really fit that kind of style, so yeah, his days are long gone. I don't think he's ever gonna come back because the meta has shifted a lot to the point where Elwin might not be feasible to be used in the game. Of course, he can still be used in PvE, but not PvP. Okay, next up, the other character that's receiving casting is Atakuto the Fourth, and he's one of those interesting, like the mobility manipulation. I don't know is that even a thing, but anyways, he is gonna get casting in this update. So defense plus 5%. When using skills that has teleportation and displacement effects, it will inflict those affected enemies with mobility -2 for 2 turns. So yeah, it is great on Autocrato, but do you think that's enough to like bring him back to PvP? Probably, or probably not, depending on how you run him. Because he does work on certain teams, like rush teams, for example, or turtle. I don't think turtle even fits with him, but I don't know. Like I think one of those two, like it's definitely rush team. So yeah, Talcotro is an interesting unit out there, but seeing this casting here could actually give him an upper hand, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, next up we got Watham, the first hero to be limited time, and also his original character, of course. If a summon sword, like the evil sword that he summons from his 3C, dies within 3 blocks of Watham, deals 0.15 times damage to all enemies within 3 blocks and applies Despair to all enemies hit. So essentially, his sword becomes a death bomb, as long as it's near Watham of 3 blocks. After ending action, if Watham isn't within 3 blocks of Shadow of Alzar, or known as the sword, upon ending action, can choose to teleport that sword to 2 blocks from Watham. So you might be thinking, what happens if he has multiple swords? So I'm thinking this could mean that all the swords could actually teleport to him, like towards him. Like I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just that it is somewhat possible if you have like a clock Watham, but I don't know if they're gonna run clock like that. But most people probably run breeze in that case, but clock could be an optional choice. Like you can imagine there could be multiple swords on the field, so having this could give Watham somewhat of an upper hand. But here's the thing: Watham is kind of aged out, but with this casting, this could kind of help him. It's like a band-aid, like a bandage solution, but who knows how is this gonna work? And finally, we got Lisa. Lisa is one of those SR units that you can get for free within the story missions. Anyways, her casting increases her attack by 5%. Every time when Lisa selects a form, the 3C skill that she has will have the cooldown removed, which is pretty good for Lisa. Because for one, when you switch forms, you have to wait it out until you can use that 3C again. But with this casting, You don't have to wait. You just get it back immediately, which is pretty nice. Anyways, let's move on to the next part, which is the new exclusive equipment. So this time around, only one gear this time. Like I think they've been doing this nowadays because they kind of want to slow down the release of the new pieces of gear. So this time it goes to Goon. I believe Cecil actually liked Goon in a lot of ways, and I think he's gonna be stoked about hearing this. Anyways, his exclusive is an armor, HP and defense plus 5%. Every time the Lone Wolf's Revenge is removed, the self-healing reduction thing that's on the talent will be lowered by 5%. So that means that the healing reduction will be reduced to 25% rather than 30%. So you can tell that Goon is going to be somewhat a little bit more usable. And then the Might of the Moonwolf gains an additional effect, which basically like after ending action, Goon can choose to remove Might of the Moonwolf effect and gains the Lone Wolf's Revenge effect. This can be triggered again after one turn. So yeah, you can imagine that Goon is gonna be able to unleash his anger at will. So even though if your opponent weren't able to kill him, like take his revive, he can literally do that on his own will, which is pretty insane, don't you think? Yeah, I gotta say, Goon is gonna be nuts out there if I see gameplay of it. But it could be different depending on how you play him. And finally, before we go, there's some stuff we need to talk about when it comes to banners that are coming up soon. So there's actually a bit of a weird thing going on with CN's, the CN websites showing all those leaks, whatever. Anyways, there's some stuff on the banner section that I'm not familiar, that I'm not sure if they're actually confirmed or not real. But anyways, this is what I got so far. So we got a new radar banner for Sold and Amadeus. And then we also had a Destiny banner for Ashamar, Adengelmo, and Mariandel. And we also had a Destiny banner for Night of Mystery, Archon of the Moon, and Varash. We also had a Strategic Master Destiny banner for Joran Leda, Joan Connie, and Florentia. And we also had a Classic Returning banner of Bozel, Liana, and Luna. And this is something I'm not sure if this is true, but anyways, there's an awesome summon on the hero summon, of course, up until the major update of Tyrantel and Tybreeze, or Tabers. I'm not sure if that's actually real or not real, but anyways, I'm just gonna leave it here for now because I did not want to spread false information when it comes to additional information. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that because there's so many stuff on that site for some reason. It's like a repeat of the same thing over and over. So I wasn't sure if I should trust that or not because kind of strange. Anyways, that wraps up this installment. So hope you all find this video informative, and I'll see you all next time. Oh, tiresome. Anyways, goodbye.